Hey, so, I want to return this Omnitrix.
You can't return this.
Well, I mean, like, I have the receipt and everything.
It doesn't matter. You're gonna have to talk to the manufacturer, sorry.
The manufacturers. You want me to find the manufacturers of the Omnitrix and return it to them?
That's right.
Is there anything you can do for me?
You can get out of here.
Oh, hey everybody. Sol here. I have only one rule here. If it's animated, I'll comment on it. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm just really pissed off that those crooked shopkeepers wouldn't let me return this stupid Omnitrix. I mean, yeah, sure, I was past the 15-day return mark. And yeah, I tampered with it too. And yeah, it had some traces of my blood on it. But still, proper customer service is important. Anyway, I'm gonna try and contact the makers of this fucking Omnitrix and maybe see if I can get a refund. Not entirely sure how, but hey, I'll find a way. I'm a hero, after all. Oh, and Ben 10 Alien Force. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Ben 10 Alien Force, too. Okay, so today we're only gonna take a quick look-see into Sol's history book, because a lot of the history of Ben 10 Alien Force is basically the same as the original Ben 10. Alright, so Ben 10 Alien Force was created, again, by Man of Action, produced by Cartoon Network Studios, and it aired on Cartoon Network from 2008 to 2010. With a total of 3 seasons consisting of 46 22-minute episodes. Not really anything else to say here, so let's just move on. So while on my way back from the store, I picked up this book from a bookstore. Apparently it's supposed to have infinite knowledge in it, so maybe it'll have an idea as to how to contact beings from a galaxy billions of light years away. While I look through the book, let's also take a look at Ben 10 Alien Force. You may remember in my previous Ben 10 review that I expressed a wish for the series to have more of an emphasis on plot, yes? Well, this series definitely has more plot, but, well, you know how sometimes you want something and then you get it and then you're not even sure what you wanted in the first place? This is one of those kind of things. Anyway, Ben 10 Alien Force kicks off precisely 5 years after the original series, and Ben is now a 15-year-old high schooler without the Omnitrix. How he got it off? I don't know. However, Grandpa Max has gone missing, and his disappearance draws Ben, Gwen, and Kevin Levin, of all people, into a thickly layered conspiracy involving a race of ancient aliens known as the Hybrids, who seek to rid the universe of all impure life forms. On paper, this plot sounds extremely investing, doesn't it? I thought the same thing while researching this series, but then I actually sat my ass down and watched it, and whoo boy, let me just say, there are not too many ways to get something as wrong as the way this plot is executed, but the creators somehow found a way, and it's truly disappointing. So one way to contact aliens, according to this book, is to climb to the top of the Mount Everest and pray you have cell phone reception. Oh, right, sorry, yes, the characters in this. Let's take a look at the characters, too. So, Ben Tennyson is back as the hero of the world and wielder of the Omnitrix. This time, however, he's got a whole new batch of aliens, and he's not afraid to use them. He's also got an annoying predilection for smoothies and chili fries, but that's another point entirely. And don't fear everybody, because Ben still causes untold trillions of dollars in property damage every time he sneezes. I guess some things just don't change with time. You may remember how, in my previous review, I said that I found Ben extremely obnoxious most of the time. Well, Ben is certainly less obnoxious in this series, but man is he a lot blander. Ben basically lost any and all personality during the period between the original series and this one, and to be completely honest, he's pretty much a braided rug with a wristwatch at this point. Don't get me wrong though, he still saves the day and everything, but does he have to be such a fucking bore when he does it? Gwen Tennyson also returns as a more mature 15-year-old, but this time around there's a lot less focus on her character and more focus on her so-called magical powers, which she uses ad nauseum. Her powers are, in actuality, alien in nature, as her grandmother is revealed to be an anodite, an alien species who can manipulate mana. Gwen gets quite a bit of a whitewash too in terms of personality, but she was never really interesting to begin with, so meh. but she too is always there to save the day. Foray, I suppose. And of course, the former villain Kevin Levin joins Ben and Gwen as part of the heroic trio. His ability to absorb energy is sort of tossed aside, and instead, he uses his powers to absorb elements like iron, wood, concrete, and other stuff like that to use in combat. At first, Kevin acts very aloof and asshole-ish towards Ben, but he slowly starts to find his groove with the two and become a valuable part of their team, especially since he starts to fall in love with Gwen. Big surprise there. It's kinda weird for me to say, but I actually enjoy Kevin as a character. I mean, yeah, he's still fairly bland, but I just like the idea of him actually moving on from his criminal past to join the side of good. He doesn't do it all blaze of glory style, he just accepts that he made mistakes in his past and wants to move on from it. That's head and shoulders above the other guys.
Keep stirring until the mixture coagulates, then add oregano, and I don't really see how this is gonna help me contact the aliens. Right. Okay. Right. So let's take a look at the villains in this series too.
Pretty much all of the original baddies from the first Ben 10 series are back for round 2 in this series, so I won't need to go into much detail or anything. The new villains, however, include the Hybrids, a group of ancient aliens obsessed with purification of the universe, who are eventually revealed to be an endangered species that thinned out their genetic pool due to generations of inbreeding. Holy shit, seriously? The DN aliens, mutated humans who serve the hybrids that help carry out their conspiracy. Michael Morningstar, aka Darkstar, a guy with sparkly powers who sparkles around like a sparkly fairy all the time and absorbs energy from people. The Vreedle brothers, a pair of hillbilly-esque bounty hunter guys who travel the universe and argue with each other all the time. And Albedo, an arrogant Galvan who previously worked with Azimuth, the creator of the Omnitrix. Out of jealousy, Albedo made his own Omnitrix, but due to Ben's DNA being the default, Albedo becomes locked in Ben's form and swears revenge against Ben. The other big bad guys make appearances too, like Vilgax and the Forever Knights, but none of them stray from their original paths whatsoever, so there's still not a damn thing to say about them.
And if the words Taggy Luge is repeated 14 times to a stained glass window while on the 4th of May while wearing tube socks and nothing else, one may contact aliens via the psychic portal located somewhere in Delaware. Okay, that just makes no sense. Like, where am I gonna get tube socks? Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah, you don't have to keep reminding me. It's called multitasking, you shit ass. So, before I start on the good stuff, I'll just let you know that pretty much everything that made the original Ben 10 series good has been stripped away from this series like drywall. But that just means it makes room for a new coat of paint, right? Right? One good thing to say about this series is just that the designs of the new aliens look pretty sweet. I mean, their names are still fairly stupid, but I'd say in terms of their overall designs, they're quite good. All their abilities are useful and fun to watch in a fight, but truth be told, a lot of them are just altered rehashes of the original aliens. Still cool though, don't get me wrong. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I for one am actually a fan of the new character designs. The backgrounds? Not at all, they're bland as shit, but the way the characters look I find rather appealing. They don't have quite the personality or the spark that the original designs had, but this particular design choice exudes a lot more tension than the previous series had, and I find it fun to watch the characters move around and interact with the world. And that about wraps up the good stuff in this series, and so far, this book hasn't given me any methods of contacting the aliens. I'm starting to think that maybe pulling a random book about aliens off a half-burned shelf in a failing bookstore run by a registered sex offender wearing an obvious toupee and a polka dot skirt may have been a bad idea. Speaking of bad ideas, here come the bad things too. Oh, and by the light of the 15 sons of Relvana, I command that the aliens who made this fucking Omnitrix come down to my planet and give me a messenger as well as maybe $28.52 in store credit. I offer thee a sacrifice so that you aliens will know exactly where to find me and... Oh. So, yeah, let's talk about the bad stuff, too, and, strap yourselves in, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. To start off with, if I gave even one iota of a shit about anything happening in the previous series, it's completely gone at this point. There's pretty much no engagement going on in this series whatsoever. The plot with the hybrid is only interesting in theory, but the way that this conflict is played out is laughable to say the least. I understand that the creators wanted to take their concept in a different direction, and I respect that, but good lord almighty, this is not the way to do it. This series presents itself as being darker and more mature than the original, but it's not dark in, say, a Batman the Animated Series, or Over the Garden Wall, or Shiki kind of way. It's dark more in an everything takes place at night for some reason kind of way. It's just a massive waste of potential, and it has disappointed me on all accounts. Another thing is just that Ben has this annoying new habit of crying out the names of his aliens every time he changes into one, even when it's completely unnecessary to do so. I would understand that if it was just in the first episode or something and we were learning all the names of the aliens, but throughout all 3 seasons he continues to do that, and it's just completely stupid every single time. As for this thing, this is more of a personal problem I have with the series, and I can totally understand if it wouldn't matter to anyone else, but it just bothers me so much that Ben never ever reacts to his transformations in a negative way. I mean, look at what his body goes through when he transforms! I was expecting, at least in this series, to see some kind of repercussions from Ben's transformations, given that they're even more brutal than Majora's Mask's transformations, but nope! Ben is always fine before, during, and after his little magical girl transformation sequences, and it just pisses me off way more than it probably should. To cap it all off, even the action isn't as exciting as before. A lot of the runtime is used for story and character development, which sounds like a good thing, but when you take away the biggest aspect of what made the Ben 10 concept good in the first place, it just makes everything else look bad in comparison, considering that pretty much all the characters are about as stale as 14-year-old bacon bits.
Shit is mortium! Okay, well that does it. I've just tried everything in this book and there's nothing. Nothing has worked to try and contact the aliens. I just want to return this fucking Omnitrix. Is that really so much to ask? Now, I'm just gonna take one more look through this book to make sure there isn't anything I missed. In the meantime, we'll take a look at my least favorite and favorite episodes from this series because I am getting seriously pissed off here. I mean, I can't even believe this shit. So I don't even need to think about my least favorite episode. It's just no brainer. Out of all the shit that gets shoveled in this goddamn series, the grand motherfucker of shit shovelers has to go to Fool's Gold.
The plot of this episode is shit. I'm not even joking, the episode is about a species of aliens who land on Earth and shit gold when they eat popcorn. There's some other crap too about crooked mayors, berserk friends, vomit, and alien spring break, and all I have to say about this episode is just this.
This is literally too dumb for me to care about.
And that's all there is to say.
Now you'd think with all the stupid crap that I've done today and gone over and everything, it'd be really difficult to pick a favorite episode. Well, you are totally and absolutely wrong. My favorite episode, absolutely no-brainer, is the episode Paradox.
In this episode, an unknown creature is found rampaging around an abandoned military research facility known as Los Soledad, which causes anything it comes in contact to age rapidly. When Ben and the gang are sent in to investigate, they find themselves swept up in a conflict spanning back to the 1950s, started by a time machine experiment gone bad, led by an enigmatic man named Professor Paradox, who lives outside the space-time continuum. First of all, just damn, man. Why couldn't the whole series be about this? Well, anyway, this episode is my favorite because A, the conflict is actually a serious one, B, the design of the creature rampaging around Los Soledad is mighty impressive and extremely creative, and C, this guy here! I fucking love Professor Paradox. Everything about him, his speech, his mannerisms, his backstory, just everything about him oozes personality. And the only bad thing about him is just that he hogged all the personality and kept it from the people we have to watch in every episode. Regardless, this episode is a momentary spark in the dark, and I'd watch it any day of the week.
Ben 10 Alien Force is a series that just has so much potential. Like literally all the pieces were lined up there in a nice, neat, pretty little row, and all it needed was just the right moves in the right place to make a nice, satisfying, emotional checkmate. But somebody decided at some point, hey, fuck that noise! Let's just throw all the pieces to the ground. And all that we're left with, unfortunately, is just an empty playing board, just preying on our minds, thinking what kind of wonderful game we could have had. In other words, they had a good idea, but someone fucked up royal. I give Ben 10 Alien Force
1.5 eyes out of
Ben 10 Alien Force. Is it watchable? I would say unless you're forced into some kind of Ludovico therapy session, probably not. Is it enjoyable? Well, I mean, every so often there's a little part of it that's kind of enjoyable, so if you're willing to whip out your magnifying glass and everything like that, then yeah, maybe, I guess. Is it memorable? Well, even though the fan reaction behind it was pretty adamant about not liking Alien Force, it still had pretty good ratings and went on to have another sequel series, so I guess it had to have been memorable at some point. Okay, so now I'm on the last page of this book, and there's nothing. There's nothing here that's gonna help me contact the aliens. I don't know if I'm gonna be stuck with this stupid thing forever. Oh, wait a second. If all else fails, go outside and yell at the sky. Well, you know what? With all the stupid shit I've seen today and all the stupid shit I've done, probably the smartest thing I've heard all day.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching part 2 of my big month-long Ben 10-a-thon. Part 3 will be up next Friday, so don't forget to check back in. If you want to see more of my videos, you can click the annotations playing in the video right now, or you can share this video too because I would really appreciate that, or you can subscribe to my channel because, as always, I appreciate that, and it's a really good confidence booster, so if you do that, I would love you forever. If you want to check out my various social media platforms, you can check out the links in the description to check out my Facebook fan page, my Twitter page, and my Twitch channel. Have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on? You can leave me a message in the YouTube comments, you can leave me a message on any one of my social media platforms, or you can just pretty much do anything in any way possible to let me know that you want something seen, and I will add it to my list, because I'll consider every suggestion that I get. Alright, thanks again for watching everybody, and I will see you for part 3 of this big Ben 10-a-thon.
Hold your breath.